What's going on, growers? It's James Prigioni coming to you live from Jersey. 8 years ago, where I'm standing right now was all grass. Now it's a thriving, productive food forest where I'm walking around, grabbing the fruit from the trees and just overall enjoying the fruits of the labor. So today I wanted to bring you along and show you how I went from grass to food forest. Let's go. The first thing I want to show you is this peach tree. I brought all of you along in the winter when we prune this, as you can see, to an open center, so it gets plenty of light, plenty of airflow. The peaches are thriving up there. We've got more peaches than we ever have. The idea was to keep it high and spread out. This way it gets plenty of sunlight and kind of canopies over some of our other trees in here. It's done real well for us, so we're excited to be eating the fresh peaches. We've got some nice sets over here and just throughout the whole thing. We just can't wait to be eating fresh peaches. As you can see over here, we've also got some blackberries doing real well. Still producing blackberries, we're eating a lot of those. So delicious, so good, full of nutrition. I want to bring you over to this other peach tree we have just right here. This one's also pruned to an open center, and it's got a lot of good peaches on it. Peaches here, even in some areas that are getting a little bit of shade, but still great production. Sometimes it's hard for me to believe that this was all grass not too long ago, but it's a great feeling to go from grass, something that's not productive, that just wastes fertilizer, wastes water, to go from something like this that's producing food, producing medicine, and producing a home and a paradise for all kinds of life. One of these trees here, this is the apple tree from seed, is one of my most prized and favorite trees. I planted this thing from seed, like I said, and to be able to eat the fruit from it is a great feeling. It's a little ways off till it's ripe, but when they are ripe, I'll make sure to bring all of you along. And these apples have a nice Sprite-y flavor to them, nothing like what you get in the stores. Absolutely unique, and it's great to just have our own variety. The spot that I'm standing at right now, I'm gonna put a clip in, but 8 years ago, it was just grass. We had actually a very small garden and a greenhouse here, but that was about it. So it's a good feeling to make that a 180 turn from something to unproductive to productive. The reason I call this garden a food forest, because it's mimic and based off a natural forest, except we just replace a lot of those elements with edible food. As I like to say, when it comes down to it, nature is the teacher and the natural forest is a classroom. We look to the forest to learn everything and just apply those things into our garden. Just like in a natural forest, in our food forest here, trees form a foundation of what we're growing and producing. Right here we've got a big cherry tree. This thing produced well for us this year, and we have high hopes for it next year. Right here we've got another cherry tree. This is a relatively new one we planted, but excited to see that produce. Then right here we also have a pear tree. This thing's got a lot of pears on it, and in New Jersey pears seem to do the best with the least maintenance, so we always make sure we plant the trees that are going to be the easiest for us to grow and have a bunch of those. Then we can grow some other things for fun, because we know we're getting fruit from these pears. We also have a new addition here. We've got a fig tree that's got some figs on it. It took a little while for it to produce, but it's got some nice figs. We're hoping to get a good harvest of figs before the year closes. And then in a food forest garden, one of the ideas is self-replication. So about last year, I think it was, we planted these basil here, this curled leaf purple basil, and we let it go to seed and it just took over this section. So we love to see that. It took no work for us, but we're still getting production out of it. Basil is one of those things we love growing, along with tomatoes too. And then right next to me here, we've got another variety of basil. So we're always planting different varieties of things. That's one of the spices of life, variety. So when it comes to tomatoes, we're not just planting one kind. When it comes to basil, we're not just planting one kind. We're planting all different kinds of things. Then we've got a hazelnut tree right here. You gotta have a nut tree if you have a forest. So this got a bunch of hazelnuts on it, more than it ever has. So we're excited to get a harvest from these. And I know in the coming years, it's gonna be just producing buckets of hazelnuts for us. And just to the right of that hazelnut tree, we've got more stuff growing. A nice Asian pear. The pears are so close to being ripe, at least one of the varieties are. Looking really good. High production, like I just previously mentioned. Pears are one of our staples here in New Jersey. They just grow so well with very little help. 3 different varieties on this one. Then we've got some tomatoes we're producing. Gotta have tomatoes here in New Jersey. And that's one thing with a forest garden. We blend not just perennials in, but also annuals, biennials. So anything that grows, anything that produces food, we love to bring that into the garden. And even things that don't produce fruit, flowers and stuff, echinaceas, good medicinals, toothache plant like I showed you guys. Persimmons are doing real well. Got a bunch of persimmons on this one. You can see some back there too. So this is the best the persimmon tree has ever done. That's our latest producer. It's gonna take us deep into late fall and tucks in here, found something he's snacking on. He's always snacking on something though. Let me bring you back to the corner where we have a bunch of tomatoes growing in this forest garden. Tomatoes are one of my favorite crops to grow and eat. So we're even growing them in a food forest, which is partially shaded, not direct sunlight constantly. Some sections here we're getting a little bit of shade, but we're still getting great production from some of these tomatoes. This one right here and a number of the others. So to just grab a fresh tomato right off the plant, homegrown, basically as natural as you could do it. I never fertilize these, I never use any sprays or anything. So we can just grab it right off the plant and just take a bite out of it. So good, so juicy. Again, nothing like it. Nothing tastes like summer than eating things fresh right from the garden, especially a tomato. So as you can see, we've got these tomatoes staked up. It does real well. We've got a number of different varieties, all different colors. That gets us excited to come out here to enjoy ourselves and make the most of the time that we actually have. I'd like to show some more tomatoes we have planted in this forest garden. They're loaded in here, and I love planting them right underneath other trees. Like as you can see, this peach tree with peaches on it right there. That's not taken away from the tomatoes too much, especially at this time of year when it's super, super hot and constant direct sunlight almost isn't even a good thing for them. As you can see, we've got plenty of varieties. Some of the varieties have gotten so heavy, they've just snapped the stems, which I think is, I mean, it's not a good thing, but it's pretty cool that they're producing that much. Got some basil here as well. More basil over there. Rosemary down at my feet. Blending different kinds of herbs with the tomatoes as well. So that's really what this food forest basically is. It's like a companion garden on steroids. More different unique varieties of tomatoes. These ones are about ready. Looking fantastic. And more basil, different kinds, purple basil, my favorite tomato of all. Flavor wise, the Sun Gold Cherry, grow that one every single year. Different varieties down here, other kinds of basil, Swiss chard, and Swiss chard is a great one. Bill Mollison talks about how he says people in the US don't grow enough Swiss chard. It's such a hardy plant, grows about 8 months out of the year. It's a great green for you, so that's something I'm going to be planting more in the fall garden, and I'm just going to be planting more in general, and I love eating it as well. 2 more different kinds of basil, as you can see right here, and we've got some more tomatoes back here. This is a pretty unique variety. This is pretty funky looking. I think it's really cool. It's a great one. And we've got some more tomatoes right here. This one's a monster tomato, as you can see. Then we've got horseradish planted back there. That horseradish is going to be ready in about the fall. We're going to harvest some of that. Can't wait to eat it. I love horseradish. Then we've got some more different kinds of basil back here. Different varieties. So many different kinds of basil, different kinds of tomatoes, and it's all blended into a food forest. As you can see, this kale got destroyed. We've got a resident groundhog that's just been very relentless this year. So we've been sharing a lot of stuff with him. He's been a bit greedy, but that's what it's like when you're in a food forest. It's not just about plants. There's also animals and things. They're part of the garden as well. So as much as we want to try to protect our stuff, when it comes down to it, you know, that's just what happens when you're growing in a forest. One of the funny things about a food forest is if you're not too knowledgeable about gardening, you might walk by a system like this and not even realize that it's geared towards the production of food, that everything in here is designed for a reason. And it reminds me of a story Bill Mollison tells, which is actually one of my favorites and a real funny one. He said that someone wanted to come visit his garden, so they basically let him know when they were there. They said, "Hey Bill, I'm out front, I'm gonna come to the front door." So he said about 15, 20 minutes later, all of a sudden the person shows up at his front door. They look like, almost like beat up, they look tired, they look run down, they're sweating, and they come and they say, "Hey Bill, I'm here to see your garden." And he said, "See my garden? You've been treading on it for the last 20 minutes. So basically, his front yard, it was all food forest, it was all garden. And they went through the whole thing without even realizing what they were walking through and what they were walking over. That's how dense Bill had it. So he's like one of my heroes, basically. So he's one of the reasons that we do this. He's the one who started permaculture. So that story has always stuck with me. And sometimes when I feel like I'm putting too much in, or like I'm putting too many things in a space, I think back to that story about what Bill said, and it just cracks me up. And one thing I wanted to say is that starting a garden like this, or even just being successful in general, it's not about doing extraordinary things. Rather, it's about doing ordinary things extraordinarily well. So it's about planting a tree and doing that as best you can. That's another quote that I love so much. So if you guys are enjoying the video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, share with your friends, check out some of the merch down in the description, or scroll on the bottom. Let's let's continue with the tour. After creating this food forest garden that I'm in right now, I realized how much that I actually love designing systems like this and getting rid of grass. So like I said, this one's on its 8th year. What I had to do with the rest of the yard was basically the same thing, but even better. Now I'm stepping into the 2-year-old food forest. So this is something all of you can have in a short amount of time. And I want to flip the camera, show you some of the stuff in here, and show you some of the production we're getting already. Just like the older food forest, our foundational plants are the fruit trees. As Tuck's coming in and just saying what's up. We've got pear trees, apple trees, peach trees, all different kinds of trees. And like I mentioned just a little bit ago, we're growing more Swiss chard now. As Bill Mollison has suggested, it's such a good green, and it is one of our hardiest greens actually, not going to flower and just continue to produce for us. We've got more zucchini coming on. Some of our old zucchini that was producing earlier in the year is finished now. So we've got the next round. We're always planting things in succession. And we've got plenty of tomatoes in here too. Like I said, tomatoes are just one of my favorite things to grow, so I just always seem to be planting more of them. The peppers are starting to come into their own and put out some fruit. Soon we'll be eating peppers. They like the cooler nights, so we've still got a little while till they start showing color. But we still got large tomatoes, nice big ones. A lot of carrots left still. We're just eating those periodically as we feel like it. We've got even more different kinds of basil in here, and more peppers, and the next round of green beans and dragon tongue beans are producing too. So we're excited to get some of those. Then as we move over here, we've even more tomatoes, which is just, you know, this is one of our staples. We love growing tomatoes, and it's a great time to do it in a section like this while the fruit trees are still small. Like this pear tree right here, it's still small, so we're not going to waste that space. We're making sure we produce food. That's why we've got all these tomatoes here, and we've got blueberries as an understory there. Then we can't forget about our monarch butterflies, so we've got milkweed growing there as well. So again, it's like a companion garden on steroids. In this section, you can see we've gotten some shade here at this time of the year. It's still early in the day, but we're getting shade. And let me just grab a couple of these tomatoes. This is a variety that first time I've ever grown it. Now I'm liking it. It's a Reichentraub. So many tomatoes on it. And they've got this funny little teardrop on them too, but still very delicious. And I say it often, but it wouldn't be a James Prigioni video if Tuck wasn't in here eating something from the garden. So it looks like he found his way to the cucumbers. He's got a fresh one here, I think. Yep, he's got his own little cucumber. That one's still attached to the vine. He didn't even rip that thing off. He just went right for it, right boy? He loves it. So our cucumbers didn't do as well this year, but the tomatoes are doing great. Last year was an insane year for the cucumbers. We had more than we ever have. But that's what it's like when you plant a variety of things. You get stability. And Bill Mollison talks about how stability isn't just in planting all different kinds of things. Rather, it's about having the most beneficial connections. So that's something we like to think about. That's why that idea of companion planting is really important when you're thinking about a food forest. It's not just sticking in all different kinds of plants next to each other. It's trying to have everything work in harmony. Just a minute ago, I showed you the production of peaches in the 8-year-old food forest. Now we're in the 2-year-old one, and we've got our next generation of peach trees coming up. These ones are only about 2 years old. We've got a number of them planted, but the most important thing is we got the right varieties the first time. These are disease-resistant ones that don't get any peach leaf curl because we've got high humidity here in New Jersey. We've also got some apple trees, like I mentioned, some pear trees, and amongst that, we've got plenty of other things growing. And here we've got an apple tree right here. This is just a young apple tree. So apple trees tend to grow slower than something like your peaches and your stone fruit, but still this is going to be a good tree for us. We've got a good variety down here. Let's see what, it's the Bella apple. So I believe this is also a disease-resistant one. We always like to try to get the right variety the first time. That's why I believe this food forest is going to be even better than our older one. That's today's video, growers. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got some true value out of it. And I just wanted to say, you don't have to be as crazy as me planting 1, 2, 3 food forests, basically converting all your grass into food. But I encourage you to get out there and at least take a small patch, or even just on your patio. Grow some of your own food, get to taste some of the fruit, because I think it'll make a big difference for you to be able to go back to nature a little bit and just enjoy yourself. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, share with your friends, hit the notification bell as well. We're going to be continuing to upload. We've got tomato harvest coming and all different things. Talk to James Prigioni. We out.